Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here today I have one of these diamonds in the rough. His name is Earl Tuioti Mariner, and he is a defensive lineman out of BYU. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I think I messed up that last name, didn't I? Wasn't it Mariner?
Yeah.
Mariner? I knew I was going to mess it up at some point, but let's just go ahead and keep rolling, man. I mean,
All right.
hey, I know you're defensive lineman there for BYU. Be honest with you, I don't know exactly where to put you on that defensive line. I feel like that you might be able to play a lot of different positions on there. But before we get to talking about you as a football player, man, give me some of your background if you don't mind. Tell me where you're from, where you went to high school, and how you got there to BYU.
Yeah, so I'm actually from Kansas. I'm from Topeka, Kansas. It's the capital, not a huge city, but it's not very known for football, I'll say that. So I got to BYU because it was pretty random. I just went to the BYU camp, and honestly, I just kind of stood out at that camp, and from there they wanted me. So that's kind of how it happened for me. So that's kind of a little bit about my story. Just coming from Kansas and then kind of a nobody from Kansas and came to Utah. So
Well, hey, I mean, obviously, BYU is a very prestigious program for a lot of different things, man. I mean, especially with football. I mean, football is real deal there. I mean, they're really I don't know, they've been very competitive these past few seasons for sure.
yeah.
So, but let's kind of go back a little bit to your days in Topeka, Kansas. Talk about your experience as a high school athlete. You know, playing. I don't know if you played any other sports or anything like that, but can you elaborate for me your experience in high school?
Yeah, so in high school I was always the biggest kid. Um, I mainly just played football. My dad wanted me to focus strictly on football, so that's pretty much all I was doing was lifting weights and playing football. Um,
So was it always football for you? Was that always the sport that you're going to go into? I mean, why do you like the game of football so much?
Man, like just from a young age, I just always excelled at football. And my dad played. He played football as well, so I think he was trying to also kind of live through us as well. So he kind of taught us everything that he knew, and so we just kind of carried it onto the field.
Well, hey, that kind of happens every so often with parents and their kids, and that's fine to a degree. But certainly, if that's what you wanted to do, that's what you're passionate about yourself, then it works. So it's all good.
Uh-huh.
But Earl, obviously, you found your way there at BYU, and I'm assuming you probably got at least one degree at some point or another. Talk to me about what you've been able to do there as a student, and what makes BYU so special to you?
Yeah, so I got my degree in exercise and wellness. So I initially got that degree um, thinking I was going to go into nursing school, which I've kind of changed. I don't think I quite wanted to do that anymore. So it's it's good and bad, but so that's what I initially wanted to do. Um, and BYU is just special because coming from an LDS background, it is a church school, and I grew up in Kansas where there wasn't a lot of LDS people, and I guess being around like-minded people was kind of different for me. So I kind of appreciated it. It was definitely not your typical college experience. I think a lot of when you think of college, you think of partying and like usually stuff like that. And I didn't quite do as much partying and things like that. And it was different. I feel like it was just a great experience for kind of what I was looking for.
And I'm assuming you've already gone on your LDS mission. Where'd you go?
Yeah, so I went to South Africa. I was in Cape Town. I was there for 2 years. It was a great experience.
Nice. So you were there, obviously, uh, did what people do on LDS missions, share the word of God and serve the people, the surrounding community, which is awesome.
Yeah,
And then of course, found your way there back to BYU. And uh, you were part of some great teams. So
yeah.
let's talk about that defense that you were a part of. And can you just kind of share a little bit about how you were utilized in that defense?
Yeah, so our defense was, I would say it's not like the typical college football defense of like a 4-3, four-man down, and um, we kind of mixed in a lot of 3-4 and a lot of three-man front, multiple fronts. So I got used as sometimes a nose, an end, tackle, playing a lot of four eye. Like I've played every position on the line. So I've had a lot of experience with all those different positions.
Right. So, I mean, with a guy about your size, about 6'4", 280, 285, that kind of puts you in a position where you can be utilized in a lot of different facets. I mean, do you feel like that's your best attribute as a prospect, that being, a versatile guy?
Yeah, but I would say that's probably one of my best attributes is, I was always big and strong enough to play in the middle. Actually, one of my favorite spots is to play in the middle, play just inside of the guard. That's my favorite place to be. But I was also one of the quickest guys, so they could use me on the edge as well, when they needed to. So
Interesting. So, obviously, again, we were talking about you just being a part of BYU. Dude, obviously, a lot of great athletes coming out of there recently. When you think about some of the people that you rub shoulders with on a regular basis, who are like the most, I don't know, influential people, the most impressive teammates that you've had over the years?
I've had a lot. So um,
You can give
so
me a few. That's fine.
all right. So my recruiting class was actually Fred Warner, Sione Takitaki, me, and there's a couple other guys, but to name a few of the big ones, yeah, Fred Warner, Sione Takitaki, and I got to play with Kyrus Tonga. He's at the Vikings right now a lot. So those are a couple of the big names I got to play with.
I mean, Fred Warner, dude. I mean, to me, like Fred Warner is really a fantastic linebacker. Like when he came out, I'm like, this guy is like, he could do it all, man. He could fly around the field and make a ton of plays, and I could put him in the middle, put him outside, do whatever the hell I want with him. But to be able to have guys behind you like that, I mean, certainly helps make your job, a little easier, I suppose, because maybe if you mess up, they can take care of the business on the back end. So.
Yeah.
Um, well, talk to me about some of these plays, some of these games. Like when you think about your career as a whole, is there maybe perhaps a particular game or instance or even a play that kind of sticks out as like your biggest highlight?
Yeah, so it was definitely last year in the Utah game. Um, the 2020 the 2021 year I'm talking about, when we played Utah that year. So we had beat Utah that year, and we hadn't beaten them in like, I think that was the 10th year in a row that we've like, it was a streak. It was a long streak, and in that game I just went off. I had 7 or 8 tackles that game. And at the end of that game, I think even their coach was kind of surprised, because I think he thought that the O line was just gonna completely dominate the line, but we kind of showed our strength in that game.
Nice. And correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you a part of like that team a couple years back that like won a crap load of games?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah,
So talk about that one magical season for you guys.
yeah. So the 2020 year was great for us. We won all of them except for one, and I wish we could get that game back. We took the game on like a Wednesday, uh, so like we weren't practicing for that team the whole week. We showed up, probably not the best game plan. I'll be honest, it wasn't a great game plan, but yeah, that whole year was just magical and just how the team was playing. There was no crowd, so we were like just playing to have fun.
Yeah, I
Because
mean that COVID year was definitely a mess. You have no crowd. And I think for some people like that helps the motivation, man. Like it helps to you to get out there and deliver. When you don't have the crowd there, man, what is your motivation, man? What helps you? What keeps you driven?
it's the guys next to you. That's the motivation. Like that was probably one of the funnest years because you know we were so excited to play, and all of us would just get hyped on the sidelines. And when there isn't a crowd, you can hear everything. You can hear the other sideline, everything they're talking about over there. So like just being loud on your side just makes it more fun. Being louder than the other team, and so
Interesting. Well, we don't want to go back that way, but certainly, having
yeah.
that experience was certainly an interesting one. Let's just say that. So, Earl, let's take a moment, man. I want to meet you outside of football a little bit. So, tell me a little bit about yourself that maybe not everybody knows, whether it be a hobby, some interests, or anything interesting about yourself that you want to share.
Oh, interesting. That's a tough question. I feel like I'm not the most interesting guy, but I love instruments. I love playing the guitar. I've been dabbling with the saxophone a little bit. So I just love music in general. Um,
Interesting. So, what type of music are you playing on these instruments? I
I
mean,
mean, it's
what's
mainly like
happening?
kind of some reggae musics. I like Bob Marley a ton, and some I guess you could call it like more. It's more of like a Hawaiian reggae kind of style,
Okay.
and some modern hip hop songs, and so
Gotcha. Well, to each their own. I mean, you got to get out there and do whatever you love to do. So, um, trying to ask a couple more questions just for the fun of it. So, uh, do you happen to have like a favorite movie of all time
of all time. Oh,
or recently, whichever?
well, recently I am digging the Avatar. I know a lot of people weren't really loving it too much, but I love Avatar. That was a great movie for me.
Nice. Obviously, we're talking about the blue guys out there. So,
Yeah, yeah, the blue
um,
guy.
no, I know I get you. And let's see. Do you happen to have, let's see, a favorite meal, maybe a cheat meal? I mean, I know you're training right now, but I mean, if you had the opportunity to do a cheat meal, maybe go back to your mom or dad or like your local town,
Okay.
what would you love to consume like as a meal?
Yeah, one of my favorite meals. My mom. Well, I love my mom's cooking and her chicken enchilada. Oh, I just love it. Absolutely. She makes the best enchilada for some reason, and I just love it.
Well,
I could
definitely,
eat.
definitely shout out to mom for some nice enchiladas. I love that. So, um, Earl, I know right now you're training, you're working towards your pro day. What are some expectations that you have for your pro day, whether it be certain numbers that you would like to obtain or just what you want to show scouts?
Yeah, so the biggest things I want to show scouts is my speed. I want to run a 4.7, 4.8 around that range, and kind of show like my explosiveness with the jumping. Um, I think my strength is pretty average, like for my position. But what separates me is just the speed that I hope to be able to show on that day.
Nice. Well, best of luck to you on your pro day. When is that pro day going to happen?
March 24th.
March 24th. So definitely circle your calendars for BYU's pro day there. Earl, why don't you go ahead and finish us up? I mean, I want you to look into that camera and give all those scouts out there your pitch as to why they need to take a chance on you. You know, bring you in. You know, make you a part of their franchise. So, go ahead and close us out with that.
Yeah, I'm just super grateful for the opportunity to even have a pro day and to get the chance to make it to the next level. You know, I'm always willing to put in the next effort and really just give it my all. But most of all, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to play football and hopefully the next level. So
Sure. Well, certainly a guy who's very versatile, can be used a lot of different ways there in the front. Could be a good locker room guy. Maybe, you know, maybe bring your guitar in there and help chill the mood out a little bit.
yeah.
But certainly a guy who's going to go out there and knows how what it takes to win. So, Earl, best of luck in this process. All right, man.
Yep. Thank you.
Sure. Once again, Earl Tuioti Mariner. He is defensive lineman from BYU. Definitely check him out.